What's up, fam? Hadasso. I don't know if you remember that word, but it means I get it. Okay, I understand in Korean, and I hope that I didn't butcher that word. So forgive me if it didn't come out the right way, or for some reason if I'm not getting the concept exactly right. But that's what I take it to mean, and it means something because um, going through life and seeing the consequences of certain actions, I definitely I get it. You know, doesn't mean I understand everything. Doesn't mean I got it all figured out. But in a lot of ways, I definitely could see through the brush. I could understand the difference of certain things that when you do get it, um, it definitely makes a lot of sense. Things start to line up, and it's the way that I believe things should be, at least for the most part. With that, uh, I want to start with this. Oh, what a beautiful morning. Oh, what a beautiful day. It's not morning, but I got a beautiful feeling. Everything's going my way. Yeah, so I've been practicing my singing, and that song's uh, hits a certain way for me for personal reasons. But I believe it's a good way to start, at least for the first few videos, and bring some optimism, some life. And so, yeah, I mean, I know some of these topics seem like I don't want them to drag. I want to, you know, hopefully, have sparks within moments. Um, that's my hope. I don't know how it's going to work out, but so with that, I do want to address a few things. One is the idea of this channel. So I want it to be love centric. I did mention that it's relational, and I think those two tie together: love and relation. How you have relationships with people, um, especially your significant person. In that, I hope that it becomes spousal. That's the intention. Um, so continuing, love centric, and this is going to be a little bit more male leaning because I believe that it's needed, and I'm a man. And I think I have more of that viewpoint, and I want to share that. That's an important thing for us to have a voice. I want to have a form of breakthrough to certain men that have thought this is the way that it needs to be. This is the way that, you know, it has to be. It's supposed to be. If it's not this way, it's my way or the highway kind of idea. I hope to break through to them to show them like that's not the appropriate way to approach things if you want to have successful relationships and have a successful relationship with hopefully your wife, or the person that you want to be your wife. So um that that's with that. And of course also with women, I cannot speak for women, but I believe that I could come from a standpoint of what women hope for, what they deserve. And when I say deserve, I don't mean like they've earned it. I mean more that it is given to them as a gift because of what they are. Man, that doesn't even, I hope that kind of makes sense. So with that, I'm going to transition to a theme that I hope to have, and it's chivalry isn't dead, it's reborn. So that's kind of where I'm leaning when I'm saying what I'm saying. So I hope it makes sense. Um, yeah. And I think, there's things I want to address later in this video, but I just want to say that there's definitely an issue that we have as people, and it's pride. And we have a pride in a certain way that keeps us from our ears being open, from taking in things to produce change when needed. And people that want to stay in that position, they have the choice to, but actions, steps have consequences. Even, you know, non-movement has consequences. There's consequences. Actions produce uh, results. And going through life, going through plenty of things, I definitely have come to get it in a lot of ways, the hard way, unfortunately, with some significant things. And that's kind of where this channel is being grown from. Um, there's definitely like a deepness in me that I want to share. Um, I actually ran into a guy today, and he was like, "Man, something about you, like it just, like there's just something deep that I could see that this might have happened, blah blah." And I was like, "Yeah, for sure." We had a whole conversation, but I'm not gonna get into the details. Maybe another day. We all got stories. But yeah, so that's kind of where this is coming from. I think the things that I've grown in and gained, I can be more of a pillar for people now. I have to deal with the consequences of my life. So yeah, that's okay. But at the same time, I know I'm still moving forward in the life that I have. At the same time, I want to share with others so they don't have to go through the same things. Um, I'm not over here proclaiming to know it all. Definitely not. But I think I can share things that can be valuable. So that's the hope, right? So today, it's a Wednesday video, and there are two quotes I want to address, and they kind of overlap in the way that I'm approaching them. So the first one is love yourself. Okay. I know already people are probably like, no. Why are you going to talk about that in a negative way? I'm not, but I want to bring some clarity in what I want to say. The second quote is, um, dang, I just got a second. The second quote is, put yourself first. So again, I know people might think like, you have to do that. Yeah, okay. That's not my point. So let me try to clarify what I'm even saying about these things. So first of all, I think that people personalize these in a certain way where it's about how these two things connect. So they're like, love yourself, put yourself first. And they think of that like of overlapping ideas. And when it's used in a certain way, I get it. I totally understand the idea of working on yourself, putting yourself first in the way that you're like, hey, I need to work on myself and this and that. Okay. And as far as loving yourself, I get that you look at yourself in a way that you're like, there was a mosquito. You look at yourself in a way that's, you see your importance and recognize the value that you have. Like, that's good. I get it. So those two things I'm not trying to belittle, contradict, argue against. It's how that applies to relationships and love um, is different. To start off, I want to touch on the idea of everybody has a base. Everybody comes from a certain part that how they produce their thoughts, their concepts, how they decipher things, and they come from a certain place. I do believe in truth, that right now it's dark outside. If I were to say there's light, the sun's out, I don't think people would see that as truth because it's not true. It's dark, the sun's not out. Um, so I do believe in truth, and I do believe that if we kind of search for things, we will find that there are things that make sense, and there's things that have evidence and background to support it. Um, Now, with that, I have a viewpoint that I come from, and it's been through research as well, and certain breakdowns and realizations in my life. And it's that I do believe Jesus is the way. I put my trust in him. Um, I've had a lot of failures and mistakes, definitely. And I take accountability for that. And then that, what I mean is that, like, I would say I'm guilty. Like, I've done those things. I've messed up. I've hurt people, especially people that I've cared about, and especially somebody that I've deeply um, have loved. And, based on certain things, there's consequences, there's effects. And with that, what I'm trying to say is that, yeah, um, like, I've made a lot of mistakes, but that's why Jesus is so necessary and important, in he has, how I look at this whole person and what he offers. Um, and it's so impactful to me. And so I've read the Bible a couple times and more. Um, and there's so much things that I've found that have not just been insightful, but also have caused me to look at myself and evaluate me and see where I stand as a person, and look at myself more so in a reflective manner. That's where I'm coming from with some of the things that I come from. I mean, I do come from life experience and how the things that have happened in my past and the things that I've learned. But I did want to give an idea and foundation of where I'm coming from. Now, I think I did mention the two things, which is love yourself and put yourself first. When addressing those two things, I take in consideration that what does love really mean? Um, Not at this point, but at some point I want to write a book about that. I think it's misunderstood, and I want to bring some insight to that. But with this moment, I want to share that from the standpoint that I'm coming from, is there is a foundational point, and it's where in the Bible it says God is love. It talks about also that you might have heard a verse or a quote or something that people have said, that it says, God so loved the world. And then there's another verse you might have heard where people might have said it. Love is patient. Love is kind. Love is not rude. It's not selfish. It doesn't keep a record of wrong, and it has more to it. When we look at a few these kind of ideas, um, it's reflecting that love is given. Love is not self-centric. It is meant to share, to give to another. Um, when we look at relationships, relationships involve more than one person. A romantic relationship, a spousal relationship, is two people. When those two people come together, love is meant to be shared with the other person. So, from the standpoint that I'm addressing the topic of love yourself, I'm not trying to say don't care about yourself, consider yourself, don't devalue yourself, don't put yourself down. I definitely don't want any of those things. But I do want to share that love is meant to be given outwardly. Consider yourself, value yourself, hold yourself to a certain standard. That's great. But with the love that you have within you, it's meant to be shared. When you say put yourself first, again, going back to the idea of God so loved the world, by saying he gave himself. He gave, right? I mean, for those who haven't heard, the rest of it is that Jesus went to the cross and took on a death penalty to pay for sin. And basically, the payment is given as an offering to those who choose to receive it, the payment. So, because of our sin, because of us, it's like I'll pay your debt. It basically frees us when we receive that payment, that gift. But what I'm trying to say in that is, God. It says God is love. It said He gives. Saying put yourself first. It wasn't that in that love that He is and has given. It wasn't that He put Himself first. He gave, but He thought of us. Love is meant to be given. Love is meant to be consider another person. And even in a far-fetched way that sometimes it's hard for us to consider is above ourselves. Now, I want to kind of touch on some things because I know things could kind of get scattered and, people have certain thoughts. It's like, about being abused, taken advantage of, some controversial terms, out there and ideas. And I'm like, okay, no, I understand. I'm not trying to use this as a form of for you to be exploited and, taken advantage of and all these things that are very detrimental and can be definitely um, have a negative impact in a lot of ways. But I'm trying to say what love essentially is. And so, um, kind of coming back, it's hard to kind of address things at times because people are at different places. And right now, I'm kind of having a base. I'm not here starting out to say, like, hey, this is how everything is, cut and dry, like, no matter what. Yes, in some way, okay. But in other ways, it's more specific to each person. And there's going to be topics that are going to be addressed that are like, hey, in this direction, in this situation, this looks this way. But in other situations, you have maybe this is something to consider. So that's something I want people to understand is that it's really not meant to confuse but it's to be eye-opening. Um, there was a thought I had earlier, and it was in regards to, I hope that it kind of brings us together a little bit. You might have heard the idea of you don't give to receive. And I was thinking about the idea that if you're given a gift, but someone is expecting something in return, you wouldn't look at it so much as, wow, that was a generous gift they gave me. You would look at it like, no, this is a purchase more so. But when somebody would be willing to give you something, be like, no, I don't expect anything. The sense of recognition of what's being done is a higher level of recognition to say, wow, I didn't do anything to receive this. It's like, in a way, I didn't deserve that in essence, and yet I was given something that had value. That's, in a way, a reflection of love. It's not necessarily done because it's deserved. It's done because you're coming from that source of what's inside of you, what you've been given, and you're sharing that. So that is a base of what I'm trying to share. I hope that it has made sense to some people. Um, and yeah, I definitely know there's things that I want to address that bring more clarity with life, with love, with the relationships. And I hope I can do that. These videos aren't going to be perfect for sure, but at the same time, I hope that I can hold your attention long enough that you can gain something from it. As it progresses, there's will be interactions, I'm sure, and questions and certain thoughts, and I hope to address those. So I hope that y'all have an amazing day. It's almost Friday. And yeah, so with that, I will say komao. If you don't remember, it means thank you in Korean. And again, if anybody wants to correct me, that's okay. I'm open to it. But I'll leave it at that. All right. Well, have a good one. Komao.